Douglas says, hate to be negative, but if we don't have an agreement to buy Aarons, then he'll be out of our price range if he does well up here, and we'll be back in the same market this time next year. Although Eddie chimes in saying Aarons is instantly the best right back in Scotland. Davey says, Mr. Maid, I can't wait to meet you. Keith here says Aarons better be ready to sit on the bench as no manager will drop Tavernier. A few things to digest there. I mean, do you think that is the end, or not the end, but the end of Tavernier being the first choice right back?
Well, that's difficult to call right now, because until Russell Martin names his first sort of starting 11 for the new season, we'll all be guessing. We'll maybe get a few clues from the pre-season. What I would say is he knows Max Aarons, has been keeping a very close eye on him. I think they were together during the kind of closing stages of Russell Martin's career at Norwich. Aarons was sort of coming up through the youth ranks and busting onto the scene. And Russell Martin has kept a close eye on him. And I find it fascinating that this is one of the first ones in through the door, or the first kind of Russell Martin signing. So I don't imagine that this boy at the age of 25, so it's not as if he's a youngster. He's at the proper age to expect to be a first team player. I'm sure that'll be his target. And I think there'll be a real challenge now for Tavernier to keep hold of that right back slot. It's all going to depend on how impressive Max Aarons is. Certainly from looking at the back catalogue, but as we say, even we look good on YouTube now and again, Daniel. So he looks impressive. He looks exactly what Rangers need. He looks like a young, dynamic version of James Tavernier. So that would suggest that Tavernier might have a genuine fight for his place. The other thing to bear in mind is that this boy Max Aarons also plays left back. So
Singing the Blues says that in the comments, eh?
Yeah, so it's interesting that they could have an eye on that. I'd rather suspect that he's there to put up a challenge for Tavernier's place at right back. And it'll be interesting to see how James Tavernier responds to that. In terms, and I get that one of the comments there about what's the point? It's another loan signing. I think Rangers fans, there will be a bit of an attitude here where they've watched Malik Tillman come and go. They've watched Vaclav Cherny come and go.
Sima.
And I think that becomes irritating after a while.
Yeah.
I would add the one caveat onto that is that this is a different Rangers board that you're now dealing with. They are in the door. I don't know when the actual £20 million of investment into the football side of stuff actually lands in the bank account. But I strongly suspect that from this point onwards, if Rangers do pick up a player from the loan market who proves to be a success over the first 12 months of his time in Glasgow, that Rangers will be a financial different animal this time next year. And if they want to finance a deal in a very similar way to Celtic have been able to do previously with Cameron Carter-Vickers, people like that, you come up, you give it a try for 12 months. If everybody's happy with how it looks, then you can sit around the negotiating table. Rangers, I don't think, felt that they've been in the position to do that with the guys that we mentioned previously. I suspect that things are about to change in a way that many people won't see coming, because it does feel at this minute in time, and I give you that here's another player coming up on a 1-year loan, probably do really well and then go away again. And that doesn't help Rangers in terms of the sort of longer term development. But it might do if this time next year Rangers are in completely different financial shape and are able to put an offer on the table which would satisfy Bournemouth's demands. And bear in mind that figure's not astronomical at the minute, is it?
Aye.
6 or 7 million quid.
Yeah.
So it might be doable this time next year.
Gordon Blackwell in the comments though. He says the euphoria of the Rangers takeover has quickly dissipated due to the appointment of a third-choice manager, an alarming lack of signings. Supporters are being short-changed after renewing their season tickets in hopes of a bright new era. I also think that a law should be brought in to limit the number of loan signings to, say, 3 per club. I mean, I get that Aarons is a lone player and they've been linked to other players, Rangers. I know there's a boy at Peterborough that they've been linked with on social media today, Emmanuel Fernandez. He's a centre half, and I get that they're not the biggest names in the world. But should Rangers fans be concerned by the fact that they've not come in and immediately spent 5-6 million on a...
The fact that they've been linked with 2 Peterborough players in the space of a couple of weeks is probably quite alarming. Listen,
no offence to Peterborough.
I wrote a column online earlier today, Dan, and I'm making it, my opinion on this pretty clear. Rangers have been crying out for this structural change, a complete regime change, a takeover, a new start, a recalibration, a new contemporary, modern management structure. These big building blocks have fallen into place with Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Marathi. And I believe from listening to them and from obviously doing a bit of homework and speaking to people around it, I get this really strong impression. These are serious, real professional guys that will take Rangers to another level. Now, whether they're capable of doing that at the drop of a hat this summer, I'm not entirely sure. I have mentioned before that the situation around the team might have to get worse before it gets better, that it might take the Americans time to get a real feel for the environment and get their feet under the table and to have a better understanding of what's really required. There might even be that touch of, and that we've seen it at other clubs that Americans have taken over in Scotland, a little touch of arrogance that they just assume that they know better. And then they find out, then they get up to pace with, and it's a thunderous pace in Scottish football. And eventually the penny drops a little bit and they realise, well, we made certain assumptions that weren't, possibly what they should have been at the time. They discover stuff along the way. I am convinced, what I'm saying is I'm convinced that these guys are the right guys in the right place at the right time for Rangers. I've no doubt about it. I do wonder how long it's going to take them to get a real feel for it, because I think everybody walks in thinking they know everything. Yeah. And this is such a unique place with such a unique environment, and the rivalry between Celtic and Rangers is so intense. I think it does take people by surprise, even though they come in and they think they know it all. I've spoken to countless players, guys that have played with Barcelona, your Ronald de Boers and stuff like that have come to Glasgow and they thought they'd experienced everything that European football could possibly allow them to experience, and then they come here. Yeah. And it's a different thing entirely. And that's why you get all these guys. Henrik Larsson's got such an emotional connection to Celtic, comes back regularly to the club. You've got these, when they play these kind of friendlies, and it's all the kind of all-star legends matches. You can't wait to get back, whether it's to Celtic, whether it's to Rangers, because there's something about this whole thing that gets inside their system, that gets into their bloodstream.